Hi everyone, and welcome to Mistakes Were Made, the show where we talk about mistakes and things we love and maybe even remember why we love them in the first place. I'm your host and residential mistake artist, Chris Hecker, and with me as always is fellow mistake artist, Eduardo Vaca.
That's me. Hey guys.
And we have one very special guest here today, Abby Road.
Whoa.
And I guess Sean and Franco are here today.
Okay.
I was going to hand it off. Wait, I had introductions for both of you. Chris, good job on reading the intro. Never going to happen again. I'm kidding. It's going to happen again. Who knows? 100th episode? Anyway, I'll give you guys the complimentary wrestling introductions. So first up, we've got two very special guests they weren't even introduced, but you know him, you love him, or maybe you don't, but what better time than now to fall for Sean Castro. Sean Castro, welcome to the show.
You know, I'm lonely, I'm single. You know, ladies, hit me up if you guys are listening to this.
But are you ready to mingle? I know Gianfranco Salas is. Also, I had an opening.
Look,
I was going to say, don't you know I'm Gianfranco. To quote, don't you know I'm Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2. Gianfranco, welcome back to the show. It's been too long.
Hi.
It's been a while.
Hi, guys. Here's Johnny Franco.
He
comes in with an X.
So, Gianfranco, you haven't been on the show in a while. Why would you like to tell our loving, gracious listeners why we're on this episode?
Oh, so we're here today to talk about the one and only Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And it's going to be spoilers, right? Yeah.
Full spoilers. It's going to be disgusting.
It's going to
how
be
nasty,
how
dirty.
nerdy we sound.
We're also gonna
This is going to go on longer than most of our
We're also going to talk
episodes,
about the
I think.
upcoming Uncharted movie. No, we're
No.
not. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Chris, Last Jedi was 2.5 hours long. we could talk about it for at least 3.5 hours at
We
that.
can cut out 30 minutes.
Okay, no. We probably could. We could probably cut out 30 minutes. With that being said, so if you, just general impressions, 75% of us liked it. And I think that's all we're going to go with for now.
What do you mean
And,
75?
Wait,
Did you-
75.
Who's the one
are you
person
changing
that
your
doesn't?
opinion?
keep listening to find out who that other person is. So from there on, we are going
He just said
to...
that. He just said
We're going to find out who the
yeah.
traitor is. And from here on
Laura
out,
Dern.
full spoilers. It's Laura Dern.
It's the real version of Clue.
Full spoilers starting now.
I love Yoda!
Yoda shows up again.
I love Yoda!
He's a good. I was surprised that he was in puppet
Little
form.
smile, dude.
Yeah.
Was anyone?
I think it was better that it was
I was
puppet
too,
form.
but I was like, I had not seen him in puppet form
Yeah, it
You
kinda
know,
made me
for
laugh.
30 years.
Since Yoda.
And it was like,
Or since
oh,
Yoda. Since Return of the Jedi.
since the other
Well,
time Yoda
episode
showed
one.
up.
Since Phantom, yeah.
Phantom
But
Menace.
come on, anyone...
That doesn't count.
Who remembers that?
I don't know how, but he slowly he went backwards from
I don't get why-
6 to.
Why didn't they just go with the same
It was
design as
gross.
the original?
Because that puppet is dead. That puppet
It
does not
doesn't matter.
exist.
They could still
It melted.
reference point.
Just like Jabba the Hutt melted.
They could still reference it from the movies, though. I mean,
That's the kind of
Okay,
technology.
so the reason I said one of us was not satisfied with it, because I was under the impression that you did not love this movie, Sean Castro, I'll lead to maybe the opening remarks should be a little more positive, but who
Look at his
cares?
eyebrows.
Sean, I loved the movie. Gianfranco, I'm sure you loved it
I
also.
thought it was pretty good, yeah.
I know Chris really enjoyed it at the very least.
Yeah, I know.
if he loved
I
it.
really liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it a
So
lot.
let's hear why Sean, at
hates
least
it.
initially, it seemed you came out disappointed.
it's not. I didn't come out disappointed. I came out disappointed in some aspects.
Yeah.
But I think all of us came out disappointed in some aspects,
Yeah.
and then but no, I mean. It's Star Wars, you know. I love it no matter what, except for
He loved
Attack of the
Rogue
Clones.
One.
I still kind of like the thing about Attack
But-
of the Clones. It's awful, but you can make so many memes out of it.
Yeah.
Like you could repurpose this garbage into something beautiful.
What do you mean? Anyways, but no, I mean,
laugh.
I think what really just got me was the fact that, you know, it was a pretty I'll just say it right now, to get out of the way. My biggest critique of the movie is just the length of it, because at some points you could feel it. It was a long movie,
Yeah.
especially during, obviously, I think all of us agree on it, the casino scene.
I think everybody agrees on that. Though.
Yeah,
I was reading reviews, and everybody in the world is just like, Ryan Johnson, why?
Yeah,
Star Wars Land. That's why.
I feel like what they were trying to do is create a Cantina feel,
Yeah.
from A New Hope, except expand on it. But you know,
Cantina World.
I think we were all asking
Yeah,
ourselves,
so,
where's Lando?
I know
The
you
perfect
guys
place for
wanted
Lando to
you
show
guys
up.
wanted Lando to be
The code breaker.
the code breaker.
That would've
I
been
thought
Did you
I,
think so?
I didn't think it was gonna be.
Guillermo
I was like,
del
no,
Toro.
it's not gonna be.
It
I-
would have been
I didn't
cool.
think that
It
at
would have
all.
been cool.
He
That
would
would've
not
been- that
have
would've been
sex
cool,
with
though.
Maz Katana.
I don't
It
know.
would've-
Lando's pretty freaky, dude.
It would have made the casino scenes feel a little bit more important.
Wait, can we just talk about how sexually progressive Star Wars is? In The Force Awakens, when Wookiee got shot and that girl is like flirting with him on the
Well, she wasn't. She was
nursing
talking
bench?
down to him.
Well, he was flirting with her. The point is, there was some weird stuff going on, and she wasn't totally opposed to it because she was still servicing this human dog.
It's a very progressive galaxy.
I mean, Maz gets around, dude. Evidence. Also, I like how
know,
Maz
he
Kanata's
knows.
like contractual obligation. Here you go. We don't want you in the last movie.
Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of like a video game cutscene to me. It was just like her like doing stuff.
Like that
Yeah.
that could have been cut.
What?
that could have definitely
Yeah.
been cut.
That could have been cut. And the thing about the casino scene, the casino itself in that world was beautiful, but
Yeah.
It
was
too
like
Earth.
it felt like 40 minutes. It was
Yeah.
probably only like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But it just felt so long. And the weird animal
They were
freedom
cool. I
stuff.
like how they looked though. I like how those
Yeah, they were
animals look.
cool.
I want to pet one.
But they didn't. The
I'll
only
pet
problem
you.
is I never felt like I saw a real one.
Also, I told.
Yeah.
Oh well, I feel like I have to apologize to you. I'm totally going in a different direction.
To Chris.
But yeah, like at the end, that kid totally uses the Force to pick up the broom.
I know.
No,
yeah,
he
I know,
knows.
Which is
yeah.
so good.
No, I
Yeah,
didn't
it was
see. I
cool.
went.
You didn't realize
I found
it?
it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like the ending was already there, and I was like, all right.
You didn't realize it?
Can we just talk generally? We should before we go to the ending. What did we think of the Rey and Kylo Ren storylines here?
It was interesting.
It was interesting. I was waiting for them to like end up like making out, and then
Yeah.
like somebody be
There
like,
was a
we're
bunch
siblings.
of
They want
romantic
force. They
scenes.
want force babies.
Like,
Can you
Put on a
believe-
shirt.
Did I say that?
Put
with
on
you?
a shirt.
Did I say that Ray wanted force babies?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, at one point you did.
Her midichlorians
Yeah.
are
And
rumbling.
like, then he said like she's not gonna get that.
you know,
from
I didn't
Finn. I'm like, well,
expect
she's gonna be
Adam Driver to get
disappointed.
that ripped.
Yeah,
Adam Driver
I laughed. I
was
was like,
crazy.
No, yeah, I thought it was funny because it was like,
Muscly.
why is he shirtless?
He was very bulky. Like he was bulky.
He was like barrel-chested,
you know what he reminded
strong
me of?
sailor.
You know what he reminded me of? Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 1. Like
That's a great way of putting it because he's big, but he's got that body. He's got the fighter's body,
right? Exactly. I
And it's
kinda
all in
saw
his
that.
chest.
Everyone bulked up for this movie. Ray bulked up too.
Yeah,
She
Ray
did.
totally
She
did
had
that.
muscles,
Her
dude.
face,
And
her
the
face was rounder,
porgs,
though.
the porgs.
Did you see them calves?
You see the porgs' wings? They got so big from the first movie.
From the first trailer to now.
They were flying around.
Only growth.
Use the Force.
We should probably
the only way
talk
to
about the
fly.
one thing on everyone's mind.
The fish nuns. The fish nuns
gonna
that
say the
hate
green
Ray.
saber.
They
Luke
weren't,
show up.
they weren't his nuns,
Luke.
dude. They were his wives.
Yeah, Luke,
His
Luke
harem.
survived by having sex with them. Each Padawan that he was training was one of like.
What do you guys think
They
of
were
the
his
green milk
concubines.
he's drinking
Yeah.
from the weird snuffleupagus?
That was weird.
Wait, what?
That was pretty
The
fun.
weird,
I
like,
laughed.
walrus thing.
That looks like a dinosaur with
when
the
he was
nip.
I didn't
when he was
need it.
getting the tea.
I didn't need to
He was
see him
getting
squeeze
he was
it
getting the
out.
juice
I kind of
out
loved
the
that.
tea.
Honestly, it was just so weird.
Why'd they
I think
have
it
it
was
look
weird
at
how everyone was
Ray?
okay with him doing it.
Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, just do that, boy.
I think
I
The
feel like we're
racist
just
of very
ranting now.
first
Yeah.
time.
I feel like we're just ranting right
But the
now.
thing, yeah, I think we should before we start. I think this is
Should have sub like.
we should. I think this is
outlined
one of the
this.
most beautiful films in the Star Wars saga.
Yes.
Undoubtedly,
looks
it's the
good.
most.
Oh.
I think it's beyond the most emotional film at that because there are so many moments where they just use tension against you,
Yeah, yeah.
particularly with Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you keep thinking
Yeah.
like
They're gonna
they're
die.
both old. One of them is literally dead. You know, so it's not that crazy for one of them
Oh
to
my
die
God,
in the movie.
You just said that so fast.
Yes.
Very like in a
But no,
comedic tone.
look, Carrie would have laughed. I think the
Carrie
point.
would have left too.
Yeah,
But seeing her
She's laughing right
in
now.
the beginning when she's so flippantly shot, like, and you think for a second, oh my god, they
She's
actually
dead.
killed her.
I thought that was. So,
I honestly, yeah, everyone.
I
I,
was
think everyone thought
heartbroken
she was
for
dead.
a minute.
Can we talk about how
I was surprised.
silly-
I'm like, wow, they actually killed her. Like,
Okay, no, dude, it was super silly.
So for those of you who don't
What?
know,
I heard it
she
compare-
gets shot in her ship
It looks
by
so
someone
weird.
who is not Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren intentionally does not shoot her, and as she's floating in space, for a minute, everyone in
Mary
the audience
Poppins
is
it.
sad. They think she's dead. Her eyes burst open, and she force flies back to the ship.
It's fucking silly.
It's about as silly as it sounds.
It's some Mary
It's
Poppins.
cool that she used the
Yeah, she
force.
looked
I
like
mean,
Mary
Which is
Poppins.
cool. We
it's
finally
cool
saw
that
it.
we find out that she has some force abilities.
Yeah, finally.
I know.
Besides
Finally.
just like occasional chest pains when
well, I
someone
know.
dies.
I feel like I don't.
I was gonna
feel
say
like-
talking to someone. It's mainly Luke.
It's inconvenient that
But-
Princess Leia is like Mary Poppins and Rey is like a Mary Sue. Mary,
Oh.
MJ. Oh fuck.
Yeah. Okay, Zendaya. But with Carrie Fisher, I feel the I mean, that scene at the end where Carrie Fisher and Luke Skywalker, and because Carrie Fisher is just Carrie Fisher in this movie,
Yeah.
like she is just as snarky as Carrie Fisher was in real life, which is beautiful. But that scene with Luke and Leia at the
She
end
slaps Oscar Isaac.
is, I think,
Good.
top, which is
dug
great.
it. I dug
Yeah,
it.
top 5 Star Wars moments ever. Like that scene.
when they're reunited.
Oh my god, and it's beautiful because that's the whole. Even though you don't know what the future holds,
Yeah.
and even though you know Carrie Fisher is, passed away, no matter what, this is their last interaction ever. And,
Yeah.
and there's still like 40 minutes left in the movie at that point. Or, well, not that much, but there's a huge amount of time left, and you still know there's nothing after that. This is the end game for Luke and Leia, and it's heartbreaking. Because it's such a sad concession. At that scene, she says Kylo is beyond redemption.
Yeah.
Like, that's her kid,
Yeah,
you
You're
know?
just, like, gotta give up.
No, yeah. I mean, Ryan Johnson, he kind of like
He blew it out of the water.
he took Star Wars in a whole different direction with this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Which gets
like
me
on pretty much
excited.
every single aspect, I think. What are they gonna do with episode
9, brother?
They're going to mess it up, I think.
Yeah, I
'Cause
don't think
I'm
gonna be
afraid
able
that
to-
J.J. Abrams is gonna like reverse everything that Ryan
J.J.
Johnson
It's
in
gonna
did.
be a
my
feel-good
opinion,
movie.
I feel like
which isn't bad,
I don't
but you
want-
can be deep and
It's gonna-
still
it's
feel good
copying
by the end.
But it's copying like the pattern of the old movies.
That's why, like Ryan Johnson, that's why he didn't copy. He took it in a different direction. Like
I feel like he was inspired.
he's leaving behind the
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it
see
was
all the
different.
nods to the original trilogy in this, but this is moving forward entirely. The only arc that's actually, in my opinion, similar is Poe's arc to
Which I
Luke's
love.
arc, which arc and
The recklessness?
Yeah, which is it's like that sort of hubris really eating him in the. I was gonna say eating him in the ass, but no, that arc is wonderful and annoying as hell because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, just think for a second.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you get lost in those dreamy eyes, and like, you're gonna say no to Oscar Isaac? You're gonna say no to Apocalypse? To Llewyn
Carrie
Davis?
Fisher
Sean,
did.
you're gonna say
Carrie
no.
Fisher.
you know what was weird for me? I don't know why I was so emotionally invested when they were like blowing up the dreadnought. Like when they had the bombers going, I was like, dang.
Oh, that
I was like, oh
insane.
my god,
Right-
they're gonna get
right
there.
in the
They gotta get
beginning.
there.
But like, I don't get like.
I mean,
why
it was
they
sad,
needed
like,
3.
Yeah, I was
When-
like, dang.
3 bombers?
Yeah,
3 bombing
they
ships?
just needed one to like put it out of commission.
I think,
They
that-
did.
Like, I
think
think
that's
it was
why
to,
they,
like,
that's why they had that
ensure-
many. Yeah, they needed to make sure
To
that
ensure that
somebody
it was-
got there.
See, that's the thing. I think this is the first movie where the First Order / the Empire as a force
scary.
feels scary, despite the fact that General Hux in this movie is a joke.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah. Smart,
Which is
Scorsese eyebrows.
so genius. Yeah. And he has like, insanely, like he hasn't slept in 40 days, which is wonderful. But, and Donald Gleason is so good in the role. He's so funny.
Yeah.
And, that should probably lead us. What did you think of the dialogue? Because that's one of the biggest criticisms lobbied against the film, is that the dialogue is so modern. And the humor in particular is very modern.
I'm fine
I
with
kind of
it.
love
I didn't
it.
see that one.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
The humor is, people have described it as Marvel-esque, which I don't agree with. I just think it's modern. It's got modern sensibilities.
That reach out did feel kind of marvelous.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that was
yeah.
a little too.
Luke tells Rey to reach out, and she does it
Touch
physically, and he starts tickling her fingers and asks her if she could feel it. That was funny though, and
It was funny. I laughed.
It was
but
funny.
it was marvelly.
I don't know. I like that we're seeing a very round character in Luke Skywalker here.
Yeah.
Because you don't get all of that in the other films. You get a Luke Skywalker who's tortured here, but he's also pulling shit like that. He's also
he's still trying
he's like,
outside.
fuck you.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting him to throw the lightsaber either. That kind of
I expected it actually.
Did
I was
you?
all-
In the
well, I
beginning,
didn't-
when she initially gives it to
Yeah,
him.
like I wasn't expecting it, but I was like, what if he just like a thought occurred to me, and I was gonna say it to Chris, but I was like, nah, it's not gonna I'm gonna sound like a fool, and I'm like,
What,
what if
say
he
it now?
throws it?
I was waiting.
But I was like,
waiting-
what if he?
Yeah, you did.
Like, I'm like, what if he just throws it? Like,
no, I was waiting for him to be like, "Where's the hand?" Like, like that would have been
There was
funny.
a
That would be a
hand
Star Wars line too. I could
like,
picture that
where's
happening.
my hand?
Can we what are our thoughts on Luke Skywalker?
Oh, I loved it.
I thought he
I
was
felt
good.
so conflicted. Yeah. What were your thoughts, Franco?
I mean, he was okay. He wasn't
honestly,
bad.
I liked the uncertainty with him and his backstory with Kylo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I like how
so
they
good.
And then,
like how
like,
perspective mattered.
Like
He
I was
feels like a
damn.
coward in this, though, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the point,
I
though.
know.
They
But
don't-
it's
they
that,
tear
like-
him down, but like I feel so good when he's built back up. And by the end, when he's taking that stand
Yeah.
against Kylo,
Because, like, I think it just shows that, like, okay, like, they acknowledge the truth that, yeah, Luke is a legend, like, both in the movies and, in just pop culture right now and
Yeah.
everything. So then they kind of, yeah, like you said, Ed, like they tear him down. They kind of just show, he is still just like a man. You know, like he's.
Well, that's this whole movie. They have expectations, and Rian Johnson knows what you want, and he does not care. He's like, "Oh, you want some Force lightning? Here's a little tiny bit of Force lightning. Fuck you."
That felt cool.
Bounce it off the floor. Bounce it off the floor.
That was cool.
That was so cool. Also, the fact that so this movie is basically just undoes everything of Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Oh, you care about Rey's parents? We don't. You care about Snoke? We don't.
I don't really like that, to be honest. I know it's like
The reveal of Rey's parents being that, of course, her parents were nobody.
Yeah, I don't like that. Because
No, I mean, it
that makes
doesn't
her more of a
bother
Mary
me.
Sue, honestly.
No,
I disagree. I think that makes her more special. And that's the
Because
theme of
she's
this
a nobody.
movie. It's not about destiny. It's like the ordinary people.
Okay, we
are
get
the
it. You
people-
read the Collider article.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great
Read the Collider article.
He's not
and
his
it's a
own
great-
person.
And look,
not
look,
on Phineas. But it does reinforce why the ending works so well. It's the idea that, they're the spark, and these other people will ensure that the flame, expands.
And I
No,
think
like-
that's what I dug about the kids too. I'm gonna get to the ending just quickly. I'm gonna
Yeah,
skip
no,
it.
it's-
I don't want to talk
I
about
went
it, but
there.
I mean, but the kid, that's the whole point of that kid using the Force and just looking at that starship and then playing with the little ring. It's just it doesn't matter where you are.
Why was there so
Or who
little
you
of the
are.
Force in this movie, to be honest?
So
Well, you could say that about, everything. Why were there's a little...
lightsaber battle.
Oh, there were a good amount.
But
was
like
one lightsaber
lightsaber
battle.
on
That was enough.
lightsaber.
There was-
Lightsaber.
we want
on
some lightsaber on lightsaber action sometime.
And
That
the
was
only
enough
time
for me. That was
lightsaber
long.
For me
No,
too, for sure, but
the only-
but it was not what
No,
we
but the
know,
only
expected.
time lightsabers touched was
Where they
Kylo
cross streams.
was Kylo and Luke in the flashback. That's the only time.
Yeah, they don't.
That's-
There's no.
That's a good point.
That's
And
the
at
only
the
time.
same time, I wasn't like, oh, I wish we had more. Like, in my nerd self,
Yeah.
I wanted that green saber, and I got it, but in the worst way. I got my
Yeah.
green saber when Luke is trying to maybe kill Kylo.
They should have given him the
Why
green
doesn't he have
lightsaber
it?
at
Do
the
you,
end.
do you think he dismantled it?
I think he got rid of it. I think that's the implication. Like, he just abandoned everything, and I love seeing that his X-wing in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
That was it was just like, he's not, because you keep hoping he's gonna pick it up later, or Rey's gonna pick it up,
Yeah.
and they don't. The idea is that he's stuck there. Even in the end, when you think he's gonna come back physically, it's
He's
not.
not.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that final
think-
confrontation is so wonderful.
I don't know. I was kind of bummed out because I went into the movie and I hyped you up and I accidentally did because I thought it was going to be interesting, that there was going to be I had read a review that was like, if you like lightsaber fights, you'll enjoy the movie, and it was
Yeah.
And it was a good fight scene between Rey and Kylo teaming up against
For sure.
the guards, but I was expecting Kylo to go to Octu with the Knights of Ren and then just have them duke it out with Rey and Luke. And I
Yeah.
was like, that would be
Yeah.
dope. And then I wanted Kylo to destroy the tree. And then that would have been even better. I feel like that would have
But it's
advanced
perfect.
his arcs better.
Oh, here we
I don't know
go.
about that. I think it's perfect
I was
that
fine
Yoda,
with Yoda.
did it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I think that was
No, it's okay. I mean, no, I'm not against how it went, but I was expecting that to happen that way.
Oh, I wasn't. I was expecting it
You were
when
expecting Yoda?
when as soon as Luke hesitated.
No, nobody expected
then
Yoda, dude.
that
That was
was
the
amazing.
best.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, if you had heard it
just
before the
thought-
movie
you
that
just
Yoda was going to
years.
show up, you wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah.
But in the moment, you're just so caught up in the emotions and the tension and
Yeah.
really the hurt of these characters. And then Yoda shows up and he puts the biggest smile on your face, and you're
my
so
God.
happy.
Chris
for
was
about 2
freaking out,
minutes.
man.
I
He was
giggling.
he was moving around and everything. I'm like, Chris, calm down. He's like, no, fuck
Every
you.
time he would move, I'd be like, "Ah, look how small he is!
No, dude,
He was tiny.
great.
I want to
He was
hold him.
puny.
I want to hold him in my arms."
Another thing
He
that
had a smile on too the whole time.
He's,
dude.
what was it?
He had a little
little
smile.
baby.
You forgot?
I was gonna, the point is that the Force, they just got rid of so many things that the Force Awakens set up, and I was gonna lead up to that.
Did you?
But
Did you guys notice when Luke does go to confront Kylo? You know how when Kylo steps, you see the red.
yeah.
And every time Luke does, you don't see
Who
anything.
pointed that out? Somebody pointed that out on the internet.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, Christopher did point that.
Me.
Oh, but
I
Christopher's
found it.
good, dude.
Chris, I know.
I was like, I just heard that review today.
He's a
dude.
reviewer on YouTube,
On
and
YouTube.
he says that when Luke goes to see Kylo, when Kylo steps, you see the red.
Like on the
Like
song.
anyone else, yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
with Luke you don't see it.
Oh, I
So,
didn't
like,
notice that.
So they
I
set
didn't
it up a
notice
little.
that.
That's pretty cool. But it's great when he slashes through, Spirit Luke, and you see the red on the ground, and you're like, oh, because you think it's over, and it is in a sense. But maybe the best death scene in Star Wars was Luke seeing those twin suns one last time
Yeah.
before he just
Oh,
he
that was
forces
nice,
too
yeah.
hard. he overexerts himself and fizzles.
Oh, that was amazing.
Which I'm making a joke out of it, but it was
Mama,
great.
like
And it
you said.
hurt.
Oh yeah, like the twin sons was nice.
Oh
Like,
my god! It
Nice
just
little
wrenched my
homage.
heart.
No,
nice
the
little
best
homage.
scene was that Lightspeed scene.
No,
Yes,
that
Laura
was
That was the best
Doris-
imagery.
yeah.
What's her name? Admiral Hoko or
Holdo.
I don't
Holdo,
remember.
yeah.
Or something like that.
Love.
who's a fantastic character, and it's crazy to think that she's only in this movie because I feel like
She would have been.
she
a
had
good
such a
character,
full
yeah.
arc. You know, she
I feel
felt
like
so
she could
full.
have. I feel like she could have replaced Carrie Fisher,
I was thinking that too.
like
And
as
then
a
she
spiritual
sacrifices
successor,
herself.
and I was like, that would have been okay. I would have been okay with that.
I was kind of weirded out. Like it felt too meta that Princess Leia is in a coma for like half the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, that's
This is weird.
It's like an X-Men Days of Future Past when pregnant Halle Berry is stabbed in the stomach by a,
yeah.
by a sentinel, and it's like, that feels weird considering like the real
pregnant.
world. Considering
nah.
there's a child in that belly in real life.
I've seen a movie where like the person gets like a door slammed in her pregnant belly, and then you just see blood come out of her like.
Oh,
whatever.
what?
Yeah, I was like, no.
What
thanks.
movie's that?
One of the Saws.
One
of the Star Wars.
Send
Very
me the
progressive.
link later.
It
What,
was weird because my teacher was pregnant at the same time. I didn't open any doors.
with your child.
You always just made sure they were always open or forever closed. But I think what are
you
the
doing?
general thoughts on Kylo Ren? Because I really think he's shaping up to be
Why are we just glancing over
like
this light
up there.
Fuck you people.
You know,
Oh, it's a gorgeous scene.
I'm honestly.
Kylo
Wait,
Ren
what?
is-
That's what I
Which
need. That's
scene?
what I need.
Light
The
speed
light
scene.
speed scene
Oh,
where
yeah,
she
that was
shoots her.
Yeah,
What
that
is
was
it?
good.
What sort of ship is it?
It was like the
just
cruiser.
It was
It's
just
a
like
huge cruiser
yeah.
right through the big
Yeah.
Snoke boomerang.
It's so pretty.
And,
it's so beautiful.
It's
all quiet.
gorgeous. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it
fantastic.
took my breath away.
And I just like the black and white.
This
look
is
of it,
purity,
yeah.
you know. And when in reality, this film, both in tone and in theme, is the greatest Star Wars movie ever.
Yeah.
The whole movie is devoted to the idea that there is no good and bad. There is just existence, and there
yeah.
is balance, and that. I think this finally effectively shows what balance in the Force means. And this movie could only exist from somebody who loved Star Wars growing up, who spent years thinking, if the Jedi really want balance, then they need the dark, blah, blah, blah. Like, George Lucas, I love him, and I kind of wish we'd seen his sequel trilogy. But also, like, this story is pure, like, fanboy story at its best.
Yeah.
At its most necessary,
it's like
I
fan
think.
fiction, but like for real.
But
Yeah.
someone who knows how to write general fiction.
Yeah, it's not. It's pretty good.
I was
But-
thinking about it. Like, I feel really bad for George. Like, he made this whole universe, and everyone's just like, fuck you now.
Well, the thing is, I kind of agree with Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's been saying, one, he wishes Disney had consulted George Lucas on the sequel trilogy a little more. I wish that too.
I would have been okay with that.
They told him to go away in episode 7.
Yeah, they
That
did.
sucks.
And the thing is, say what you will about George Lucas.
J.J. Abrams invited him to set, and he showed up for,
Yeah.
for a day, and that's it.
Well, in his defense, this is something he
JJ's
spent decades of his life on, and it's been, he's
Yeah.
given it up.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
his choice, and, he got paid well for it,
Did you know
but,
that he was planning all these trilogy
yeah.
sequels?
He's had
like,
this
he
trilogy
even
for
had, like-
years.
Yeah,
He even had like Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and
Like
He'd
but,
spoken to him
and Harrison Ford,
like a year or two
year,
before
yeah.
selling it to Disney,
And
which
then-
is remarkable.
Wait, no, he's been playing since like the 80s.
and then like after the Return
I
of the
know, it
Jedi,
makes me
like
sad.
after Return of the Jedi, I mean,
I
he
think
had
it's-
them still contracted for like another movie if he wanted to bring them back and everything.
But the
the
thing
holiday
about
special.
Lucas is that he always moves forward. Like, say what you will, you could argue Force Awakens is a step backwards just because it's a remake. Essentially, it borrows so many plot points. But George Lucas would never have made a movie like The Force Awakens, even though.
no, yeah,
No.
Like the great line, the most notorious line from the prequels is that he says the prequels are like this whole saga is a poem. Each stanza rhymes.
Yeah.
And that's like the perfect way of thinking. And I feel like Rian Johnson nailed that with this film.
Yeah.
In a way that JJ didn't with Force Awakens, and in a way that he won't with Episode 9.
I'm scared. Yeah, I'm
It's
scared.
good.
With
I'm just
episode
worried
9.
that they're gonna pull it back and say no. Rey's parents really were Luke, and
Yeah.
because that would, however you feel about it, I think that's the worst. Like, it's kept me up at night.
Okay,
Since
can I
seeing it
talk
last
about
night.
that for a little bit?
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, look, honestly, I am a little bit disappointed with Rey's parentage. I mean, I get what they're doing, the whole thing that, like Collider says, that we all borrowed.
Shout out to Matt Goldberg. He's one of the few
Yeah.
good writers on just the mainstream
But,
site.
yeah, that, it just shows that,
Sean's like, I don't endorse him, but whatever.
that
Excuse me.
it's not about destiny anymore. It's about making your own choices and making your own fate and everything, and that, you know, it doesn't have to be just someone that is specifically chosen to be special, but instead, like, it just shows that, you know. But honestly, though, sorry, I was going off topic, but I wanted Rey to be Kenobi's granddaughter or Kenobi's daughter.
Did you? I
really wanted that.
I want the fan fiction, like, I want everything to tie together version of me did, but I know this is.
Look, I'm fine
better.
with but I mean,
no, I completely feel, because I wanted to be her to be Luke's daughter.
I'm fine. I don't know.
You want to be Luke's daughter?
Because this is the Skywalker story, and a part of me is like, I can't do a Kylo redemption arc. So it's got to be Rey.
I like the idea of the Kenobi and the Skywalker. I like the idea of the Kenobi and Skywalker family, like, always being intertwined. Like, those
there's a romance there. It's really interesting.
Well, not exactly the romance,
but I just like love. But the idea that like these two
bloodlines like intertwined,
together.
yeah, exactly. And I wanted that. Like, that idea enticed me and everything.
That's hot.
The thing is, I love the intimacy of the relationship between Rey and Kylo Ren in this movie. Because it is, like, actually a little, I would argue, romantically, it has this romantic tension in it. Because you're kind of waiting for them to, like, you know, have an intimate moment.
I don't think it's more romantic, since, like, it feels like they're linked, which means that they kind of are related. I feel like that's more like
family. That's what it was getting at. No, well, even while I was watching The Force Awakens.
Sick bastard.
Well, no, I thought, like, romance is, because I felt it was a little, like, frankly, like, sensual.
So cheesy. If it was, like, our love and the Force brought us together. Like,
But the thing is, they kind of did. Like, this idea that, like, in a way, these two people understand each other too well, and more well than they'd like to each admit. And I think there's something so, like, human about that. You know, this idea that, like, it's like, you know, it's the opposites attract thing, except this time, look how destructive it is when it happens. Because it's almost like if this is a rom-com, all their little, like, Force G-chats are, like, you know, that's, like, in the romantic comedy, that's the flirting, and then them killing all
into her DMs.
Like, post-lid.
And them killing all of the guards is, like, the sex scene. It's, like, the catharsis, you know? Like,
sex scene
when
they're fighting the guards?
because that's the cathartic moment where it's like, oh my god, these two people
all
are
the tension's being relieved.
No, it is.
Remember when she threw the lightsaber at him? That was him finishing.
That was it. Literally, because it was the last guard they killed.
Climax.
Yeah.
Which is, again, like, just this movie has such great moments. That's one of the best fight scenes in Star Wars.
Yeah, easily.
And it's two people fighting nameless bad guys.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that doesn't exist in other Star Wars movies. The best fights are between, like, Anakin and Obi-Wan and Luke and Vader. And, you know, I'd argue Obi-Wan and General Grievous, but whatever.
Hello there.
I love that.
I like Obi-Wan.
But, I mean, there's not a lot of it, though. That's the thing. Like,
what are you talking about?
The General Grievous and Obi-Wan, though, I feel
there's no build up to it.
A lot of it takes place, like,
it just happens,
on the chase, like, when he's in the cycle thingy and he's on the lizard, like, that's all, like, where most of it takes place. And then
that's fair. Then there's, like, the windmill at the beginning, and then at the end he shoots him with the blaster, which is the coolest, like, part of that.
I think it's cool to see, like, that, you know, a Jedi's not resorting to, like, using like simply just the Force or just his lightsaber. Like, he actually just pulls out a blaster and, you know, and then it kind of, like, honestly, it kind of makes you think back on, like, A New Hope, when he's all like, it's a more like, he's saying that a lightsaber is a more elegant weapon and everything, but, you know,
so uncivilized and it's us.
But then now he's using a blaster and everything, so it's like, it's cool.
Who?
But
I don't know. I think the Grievous fight is cool because it kind of, like, enforces the idea that Obi-Wan doesn't like the idea of conflict. Because, like, if you notice how Obi-Wan fights in just, like, even from the beginning, well, with the exception of the Phantom Menace, where he's
like attacking,
where he gets mad at Darth Maul, but before that, he's always a defensive fighter. Like,
which is I love that.
Yeah, he never initiates an attack. He just sits there and waits for you to make a move, and then if you slip up, he'll kill you. And so,
which Luke does in this movie.
Yeah, which is great.
Which is amazing.
Because it's like you're passive aggressive about it, and it's like.
It just shows a control.
Yeah.
It just shows a control that exists with Luke that will never exist with Kylo. And I love Kylo's relentless nature. I love that he feels like, you know, he has to shoot Luke 4 million times with all of his arsenal, like, in order for him to feel satisfied. And they really play into Adam Driver's, like, the adolescence in that performance.
Yeah, they really. Yeah.
Because like, there's a scene where like I think everyone in the theater laughed because it just sounded
like,
so childish.
It's like Luke says something like he's all like I bet you're here to say, you know, I'm sorry or whatever. And he's all like, no, I'm not, but whatever. And then like Adam Driver's like, I bet you did or something like that. He says it very childish.
He does say I'm sorry. He's like, I bet you are.
Oh yeah, like I bet you are.
And
Yeah,
everyone laughed, and I think it had to have been intentional because Rian Johnson is smart enough to know people are gonna laugh here. But God, like Luke Skywalker was so cool after that fight where he's like, "See you around, kid," and then he just disappears. Like that doesn't feel like a Star Wars line.
No.
But also, I was like, God, Luke is so cool. And then he's like all sweating and stuff in the real world. And it's
I'm just praying that like J.J. Abrams doesn't disassemble what Rian Johnson has created, because I'm afraid that's the most thing I'm afraid of. That
he doesn't reassemble, because Rian Johnson, you know, tore everything down, and I'm worried JJ is going to be like, no, let's fix it to the way it was.
Okay, yeah, but no, I other than like I think just because it's again like me being like a fanboy, just because it's me being a fanboy, other than Rey's parentage, everything worked for me, you know, like so like I don't want the redemption arc for Kylo.
Which they kind of did here.
They showed that,
and they showed that
he's
it's
beyond.
impossible.
Yeah, he's beyond.
Great.
Which like I don't want them to bring the redemption arc in Episode 9.
No one's beyond. I mean, look at Vader.
But that's the thing. Like,
but that's why it works so well that Kylo could not be.
But like,
just opened a can of
that's
worms.
why, like J.J. Abrams in Episode 7, he was already setting that up. That, you know, he's gonna take the place of Vader. It's basically the same story. There's the Emperor, which is Snoke. Then there's Vader, which is Kylo. And that in the end, you see the conflict still, and that he's gonna be redeemed in the end. Yeah. But then Rian Johnson's just like, no, he is not gonna be redeemed, and I like that. You know, I'm fine with him.
Because that's an interesting bad guy. This poor kid who didn't have it on himself. He was pulled apart by Han, by Leia, by Snoke, and Luke. It's all their faults. And now he's just a broken mess. And Snoke calls him on that shit right in the beginning of the movie. He's like, "Why are you wearing that stupid ass helmet?"
Yeah. And like, take that ridiculous helmet off.
Yeah. And he's like, "I look cool." And I like seeing him smash it. Yeah. It's like that meme where it's like, so no head, and then it just shows him smashing the helmet right into the wall.
Wait, have you seen?
Which is a great quality meme. But oh man, just his performance was magnificent in this movie.
I'm glad. I'm honest.
Adam Driver.
I'm glad that there wasn't a lot of the helmet in it. Like I'm glad
it's
that
a progression of character.
Yeah, like I'm glad that that pretty much other than the beginning, like everything was just him out of the helmet. Like, and I'm fine with that. Because honestly, I mean, it's not that I didn't like the helmet. It's just I think, you know, seeing Adam Driver, it works better. Like seeing his facial expressions. Yeah,
act.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I like that now the bad guy of Star Wars, the true bad guy, is in charge of everyone. He's Supreme Leader now. But I was thinking, is he Supreme Leader Ren, or Supreme Leader Kylo, or Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, Supreme Leader Ben?
I was going to say he's Supreme Leader Ben.
What's he going by? But I think that's so cool.
Solo?
Yeah, please.
Solo.
Supreme Leader Han?
Solo? A Star Wars story?
No, that looks like a
that exists.
Movie. I don't want it to happen. Yeah, it's like...
Wait, who's writing it again?
It's Lawrence Kasdan and his son, and Lawrence Kasdan wrote Empire Return and Force Awakens, and this one, or well, did he work? No, this was Rian Johnson.
This is Rian Johnson.
This is all Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
But
Solo should be like a comedy, honestly.
Well, that's what Lord and Miller, they did 21 Jump Street. They wanted to do that,
and then they were like, "Nah."
Yeah, but that's another. We'll talk. Oh, we will have stuff. We will have words to say when that comes out. But
Ron Howard's pretty much like reshot that whole movie, dude.
So we've only got a few minutes left. What are our thoughts on the negative fan reaction to this movie, which I find it actually saddens me to think that like these people can't appreciate what I think is like beautiful, true art.
I just think that it's just that people are too dedicated to the Star Wars, to the like original trilogy and just the entire Star Wars mythology in general. That, you know, there has to be destiny, there has to be the chosen one and everything, and then, you know, they're just too dedicated to that. But to like see that where the direction that Rian Johnson is taking this is like it's a pretty interesting place. It's uncharted territory, which I think is great.
Uncharted movie.
Shared universe confirmed.
Please.
No, I think Sean's going on to something that I was going to talk about too. That it's just.
I talked about it first.
No, it's just a bunch of nerds being mad because they're taking liberties with something that people have held dear for like so long, and I could understand why some people are mad, and to an extent that it kind of bothers me too. But I'm not so close-minded and
I'm telling you,
ingrained in my ways that I'm like, you know what, no, you can't do that. It's kind of, I mean, change is scary for sure, and for a lot of people it is. You don't have to explain that in America. Just look at, our political history and et cetera, et cetera. You'll see that we suck.
Oh, here we fucking go.
No, but I mean,
get it out, Sean.
I think
racist.
Chris Stuckman said it best. People today are going to complain about it, and then 30 years from now, when our kids are watching it, they're not even going to give a shit. They're just going to be like, "This is a good movie."
But I feel like,
and you can't complain about it.
But I feel like if Mark complains about it, then there might be something wrong.
But
with
is Mark complaining about it?
Yeah, no, he
Mark doesn't like.
I know he doesn't like the way that they handled Luke. I know that.
That's not true.
But he didn't agree with it. He didn't agree with it.
Like fundamentally as a person. But he said he thinks the script is brilliant and he thinks it's a master. He's for it in the sense that he acknowledges that this is art.
I was honestly fine with the way they took Luke.
Yeah,
I actually liked it.
I think it was genius.
I thought it was like that,
All right, I'm sorry.
It's a little heartbreaking that you see. It's a little heartbreaking that we see a character so like near and dear to us, like be torn down like that. Just I think it's where weird. He's like feels hopeless.
I think it's weird that people were mad that he's kind of like begrudgingly takes on Rey, and he's like a grumpy old like hermit who kind of just lives on an island. But I mean, when Luke literally meets Yoda,
that's him. Yeah,
Yoda's exactly the same way.
That's what I love.
Well, no, he wasn't grumpy.
But the thing is, this Luke Skywalker is legitimately jaded. He's upset by his actions in a way that no other like Jedi you've ever seen.
Yeah, like Yoda wasn't upset by his actions. Yoda was just kind of like,
he knows it's
whatever.
Because he knows it's his fault. He knows that, like,
this is so good. I don't even want. Can we move on? Can we move on? I'm gonna freak out.
It's all too good.
His best friend and his sister's son. He knows it's his fault. His nephew that he was scared, and because of that fear. He ruined Ben,
I don't like.
He gave him the final push.
I don't like how we don't get to see like Luke kind of react to Han being dead.
Yeah, they kind of just cut it out. Like I mean, you can kind of noticeably see how he puts it together that like Han is
where's
dead.
Han?
But then the next scene he's like R2.
I'm kind of bummed out they didn't have R2 in this movie.
God, that was
yeah.
I did too.
Okay, wait, that message totally.
Oh, the message.
It almost made me tear up. I was like, damn, dude. I was like,
they're pulling at the Carrie Fisher strings.
Yeah,
it's like
what about Han?
Which is a great scene because you see him light up with joy. He's so giddy to see like R2. And the problem,
R2 is like near and dear to him,
R2's awesome, but I just wish that he focused.
R2 wasn't in the movie either, which kind of bumps me out. Like, I mean, I love BB-8 and BB-8's great, but like,
it's just
like BB-8 R2D2. But
again, it's all about what Rian Johnson is doing. He's like, okay, I'm still like we're gonna like still pay tribute to these great movies that were before this, but in the end, we're still taking this in a whole new direction. And, we're gonna make something out of it our own, like kind of like something new.
I'm ultimately bummed out because The Force Awakens was a Han Solo tribute. This movie was a Luke Skywalker tribute.
Yeah, and it's clear what Episode 9 was going to be.
was supposed to be Carrie Fisher tribute, and Carrie Fisher is now obviously passed away. So it bums me out that we're not going to even like get
what are they gonna do?
Her movie.
They won't they said they won't CGI her. So what are they gonna do?
I think they're gonna. She's gonna die off screen.
Yeah, it's gonna be like in the scroll. It's gonna be like Carrie Fisher died.
And I think Poe is gonna sort of pick up the
mantle.
I think it's gonna be like Poe is gonna be the character to like be the one to have the burden of her legacy.
The leader.
Poe?
Yeah, which I love their dynamic. I love that it's almost
like a mother son, like what like the son she should have had.
Which works beautifully in this film. Oh my god,
he's like a younger Han. That's why she feels like
maybe too.
I don't think
it might even be that.
I don't think it's so much the son that she should have had. I think it's
the
more.
Lover.
I think it's more the.
Han just died a year
ago. The son that how she should have raised him. I think it's more that the son that how she should have raised him.
Yeah,
that she didn't raise Ben the right way.
It's kind of her
fault. It's all their faults. That's the thing. That's the thing. They kind of like present Kylo as a victim in this movie.
kinda
You know,
is.
he's a
But I
victim
mean, all
of
villains
everything.
usually are a
Of
victim
everyone,
of.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not just
Somebody
it's not
else's
just one person. It's not just
design.
Snoke. It's not just Luke. It's
Yeah.
It's
everyone.
Leia. It's Han.
Exactly.
Everyone basically let this poor kid down.
Well, Han didn't want him to go. He was
No,
like-
but everyone was pulling
But
in the
like-
opposite direction. Han didn't want him to go. Leia did. Luke wanted this. Snoke wanted this.
Yeah,
and you
that
see this poor kid's been, you know,
that sucks.
it sucks. Like he has no one who's really.
He's never.
And then
listened to
his
Abbey Road.
and then his lineage like that.
And
It's
Luke,
even worse,
and then
you know?
Luke, who he's putting his faith in, you know, Luke is contemplating. He's scared of him, and it is cowardice, and it's. Oh my god! It's just it's heart wrenching,
Good.
really.
I'm shaking. I'm shaking.
What's your guys' opinion on Rey, real fast?
I wanted more training. Not that, like, I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
said,
still
you
feel
said
like
that
there's not
Luke,
enough
You
training.
said that Luke didn't have a lot of training, and I agree with you. But I mean, I feel like Rey literally had 2 lessons, and now she's like a badass.
But at least we
She
feel
trained
like.
by herself with the lightsaber just once.
yeah, no,
She's
no, no.
ready
Yeah.
to take on like anybody.
But no,
Which
wait,
I-
that wasn't
which
even
was
training
interesting.
though. That was like just her waving it
I
around.
know.
That's the
She's like
thing.
ready
like,
for any fight.
and then she chops a freaking rock in half.
Sue. No, I'm just
See,
kidding.
but like the thing
No,
is,
she does fit the
I'll
character.
give.
She is starting.
Obviously.
She's starting to feel more like a Mary Sue.
But I mean,
think to
that's
me-
not that different than
Oh,
like
here we go,
it's
Ed.
every trope. Like like in
we
most
go.
action movies, we'll
There
forgive
is
when the
most,
character
yeah.
is like, oh, they're just you know how we know this person's stronger because we said so, and it's like,
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
like Luke was kind of like a little bit.
what? No,
Well,
I think Rey was
why he had,
generally,
like the power.
but with
Well, like,
Rey, she was undercooked generally in the movie. I think we can all agree on that. We wanted at least more of her,
no,
but
actually, I don't agree with that Luke comparison actually. Because
Well, what
like
was
you
that
see him
comparison?
you see him progress throughout each movie like better than Rey. Because in the first one, he like.
well, I'm
barely-
just talking about the
Yeah, he's
first
just
one.
a whiny
though.
little kid in the first
I
one,
know, but
and then
he
the second
didn't-
one, he's
he
just a
didn't show
reckless
great,
hothead
like-
who ends up like an adult.
That's
I know,
true.
I know, but like.
Yeah, I
you're
know he didn't. But
comparing
like,
the
I
two.
mean, like
He's
his
a
like,
sh-
let's say like his when he's piloting the X-wing, you know, like.
Yeah, he had Obi-Wan helping him. Rey like did everything on
No,
her
but
own.
I'm not talking about just shooting the torpedo. I'm talking about actually piloting the, like, I mean, come on, like,
Well, he's had training with. Yeah, okay, never mind.
yeah, I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
a,
Luke-
speed,
Luke
a
is-
speeder
but
is
Luke-
a lot
Yeah,
different.
but what about
But
Rey
Luke-
being able
it's
to take
cool
on
that Luke is-
Kylo
yeah,
and beat
true.
him?
Luke is a competent pilot with seemingly no setup for that.
Exactly.
Like, it just is. But it's fine, and it's the same way. I kind of like that Rey is just like she has all this raw power. And that's really
mean,
cool.
I'm fine with
and I
it,
like
you
that
know,
at the
in the
end
end.
they're
Sure.
really left alone. Luke is gone, and by the end of it, there's just these people,
He's not.
and
gone.
it's literally he'll. Please God, let him show up as a Force Ghost. I want to see him one more time. But by the end of the film,
Isn't
it's
he
this-
confirmed for episode 9 already? Doesn't he have
I
like a
don't know.
contract for it or something like that?
I think
Who
he is.
knows?
Maybe,
probably.
'cause I-
But
read
I
the
think
comments
I feel
about-
like he's gonna come back for a ghost,
Yeah.
little ghost
Him and
session.
Yoda are gonna like banter.
What's
I don't think Yoda is gonna come back.
What's that one?
It's gonna be Ben.
Fuck.
It's gonna be
Oh,
Ben.
it's gonna be Anakin.
I would be okay with it
Ben
if, like
Solo.
I would be okay. I would be okay with you and McGregor
Star Wars
coming
story.
back as a Ben ghost.
Oh yeah.
I would.
That would be like that'd be like the perfect way to confirm like, oh, we're
I-
doing an
I-
Obi-Wan movie, guys.
If they
I'd be
do
a
make an
little
Obi-Wan
distracted.
movie and Edwin is not in it, whatever his name is, I'm not watching it. I don't care.
No, I'm still watching it,
I'm
but I'll be
not.
very angry
no,
giving them my money.
No, you
What?
and McGregor needs to be Obi-Wan.
I'm not
in that
giving them
Obi-Wan
my
movie.
money.
If Ewan
They know
McGregor
what we
Oh,
wasn't-
want.
Kenobi. Oh no, he needs to be.
They
Like,
know what we want, Ed, and if they don't do it, then I'm not giving them my money. I'm not showing up for
I think
that
it's.
podcast.
I think. But I mean, I think Ed is right in the sense that they don't even necessarily have to hire Ewan because I feel like Ewan can. Because everybody wants Ewan to be
Oh, I want
Obi-Wan, and I feel like Obi-Wan. I mean, Ewan's gonna be like, all right, so cough up the dough, Disney, and Disney's
It
gonna be
makes
like,
sense though.
I think it'll work. Anyway, we're not gonna have time for recommendations.
we
We have a minute left.
Well, we all want to recommend
Last
the
thought.
same thing.
All right, on 3, we're gonna all shout out. We're gonna shout out our recommendation. 1, 2, 3.
Save net neutrality.
Oh my god.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Mistakes Were Made. You can tune in next Tuesday. Please subscribe on iTunes and SoundCloud. Do you guys mind if I put all your social media on the link?
that's
Yeah,
fine.
let's
Go
Yeah,
for
I'll
it.
just do it.
Yeah.
We're running
Yeah.
a little late. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Franco, stop working so much and be on the show more.
I'll try.
Just
Yeah.
Franco, quit. I will pay you
Say how much I miss you
in
every
love and
episode.
hugs to be on the show more.
Yeah, at least-
Alrighty, everybody. Thank you so much,
Go
and
watch
we'll
Star
see
Wars.
you
It's worth your money and time.
next
not bad.
Tuesday.
Yeah, it's good.
There might be some spillover Star Wars talk. Who knows? All right, bye, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.